Hello, friends and colleagues. MelButcher here, and thank you so much for joining me. I've got a special story for you today, and I want to share this story because there's a few things that I learned from the process, and I think there's also a few things that you could learn from the candidate that we're going to talk about because this situation, opportunity like this could happen to you. Okay, so a few days ago, I got on the phone with a colleague of mine. So, a colleague of mine at Carollo that is a subject matter expert in wastewater process engineering and very highly regarded, a special person. And they told me about an opportunity. They told me about a position that they've opened. They're looking to hire someone. They launch into describing this role, and they said to me, we're looking for someone who's got this kind of wastewater expertise. We're looking for someone who preferably has a PhD, has some interest in research and development, but we're also looking for someone who's got a high level of communication skills. They're able to be a face, so to speak, of Carollo. They're able to represent us well, and they've got to want to do those kinds of things. And then the other thing that my colleague mentioned is they want someone who is driven from the innovation perspective. They are really interested in thinking about the future, looking ahead, and applying some of their expertise to do that. So they're describing this to me, and I think some people might have heard like, wow, that's a tall order to have all that in one candidate. But I was thinking, I know a perfect person. Let me reach out to them. Okay. So I think about this person. I text with them a bit and I say, hey, let's have a chat. Let's get on the phone and talk about this. I get her on the phone, and let's give her a different name for now for anonymity. Okay, let's call her Erica. So I get Erica on the phone and I explain to Erica, listen, my colleague mentioned this amazing role, and I think that you fit all of the requirements that they're looking for. And this role is so unique and special. I hardly ever hear about roles like this in the engineering or water wastewater space, right? I rarely hear about roles where they want someone with a PhD and there's some R&D component to it, and they want you to be forward thinking and applying your creative and forward thinking skills to the work, and they want you to be someone who also will at some point be some kind of face of the company, right? It's just such a cool, unique opportunity. Would you be interested in having a discussion with this hiring manager? And to my surprise, Erica was resistant. She had some resistance to it. And so before you judge her, let's talk about what I missed in the process. So I missed the context of where Erica was coming from. And there's three pieces here. So this is important from the perspective of reaching out to someone about an opportunity, and also important for you to think about as a future desired candidate. Okay, so context. Erica has some young kids at home. So the work-life integration piece is very important for her right now. So she's asking herself, is this company, is this position going to allow me the flexibility or the balance that I need and want right now as a mother while I'm working on these goals of my career, right? So that's one thing, work-life integration. The second piece is that she recently started the role that she's in now. So she feels newish, let's say. She feels like she's fairly new to the company. And she had this sort of sense of, well, I shouldn't do that to this company that I work for because I'm still new, etc. Okay, so we'll come back to that one in a moment. And then the last piece she had concern about is she was concerned of, if I'm not fully committed in my interest to the role, should I still have the conversation with the hiring manager? What if I waste their time? Okay, so 3 concerns. Let's talk about each one of them. The first concern, the work-life integration concern, this is real, I think, for most people, but especially parents or caregivers of any type. When you're considering a move to a new place, if that's a high priority for you, I think the very best thing that you can do is talk with several different people who work for the company and get a sense from them, if you can, about what it's like there. So if it's a new company that you're looking at or that you're being approached by, even if you don't know anyone there, you can use some tips and tricks to connect with people on LinkedIn, do some informational interviews, and find a gentle way to get that kind of information that you're looking for. So a quick resource for you, this book, Reach Out by Molly Beck, has some really great advice for how to do that. So how to do reach outs to new people and to get them to be receptive to you. Okay, so that's number one. You'll have to do your research. Okay, so Erica's second concern was, I'm still pretty new at the role that I'm in right now. Should I, really be talking to anyone else? I feel like I shouldn't do that to them, right? I shouldn't do that to the company I work for. And my response to that is twofold. The first is, you have to think about, especially if you're working for a business, businesses typically make their decisions based on the needs of the business, not the needs of the people that work for the business. So if you think about when a company hits a hard downturn, a hard economic downturn for some reason, are they going to be as dedicated to you as a person, dedicated to you and your needs during that downturn? Or are they going to make decisions that could be bad for you, but they're good for the business, right? And every place is different. However, I think that in many cases, most cases perhaps, businesses are making decisions that are best for them. So as individuals, as the CEO of our own individual career, let's say, we have to do the same thing. If we don't watch out for ourselves and take opportunities for ourselves, no one else is going to do that for us. So, we have sort of even if we're working for another company, we have sort of the business of self, right? I'm Mel, and I have Mel Inc. that I have to manage for my career, right? So something to think about. The flip side of that, though, is that there are some very good companies out there that you might feel more dedication to because of the way they're dedicated to people. So I am really lucky. I work for Carollo, and that's where I am trying to recruit Erica to, right? I work for Carollo, and we got to see up close and personal how our leadership handled things when there was this lot of economic uncertainty at the beginning of the pandemic. So I started at Carollo in January of 2020. The pandemic hit shortly after that. And to my knowledge, I'm very proud to say that we never had layoffs, we never had furloughs, we never had any benefits cut or anything like that of any of our staff, including support staff, right? And that was because our leadership managed, in my opinion, with a people-first approach, right? They didn't want to cut us or cut things to us. They made people first types of decisions during a time when the economy was very uncertain. And we were even seeing things like clients who were pausing or postponing work indefinitely because they didn't know if they were going to have the funding to do it. So it would have been very easy for our leadership to respond in kind that way, but they didn't. So I am really proud of that via Carollo. So not all companies are bad and heartless. Yet at the same time, we as individuals still have to manage our careers and the opportunities we take appropriately. Okay. All right. So we talked about two things. We talked about Erica's concerns about work-life integration. And then the second thing, being in a newish role, should I or should I not exit because that looks bad, or it's, doing something bad to the company, which I do not think is true. Okay. And then the third thing is fear of wasting the hiring manager's time. So this is not wasting someone's time. Okay. When a company is interested in you as a candidate and you get to connect with individuals, it's an exploration. Those initial discussions are to explore. For you, it's to explore, are you really interested in the role? Are you really interested in the company? And the same thing is happening in reverse. They are trying to garner, are you a potential fit? Do we think that you would be good for this role, good for the company, etc.? So there's that exploration. And it's also, with that, an opportunity for both people to expand their network. So you get to meet someone new, they get to meet you. You're both building your network, right? Okay, so I hope that if someone approaches you with a unique opportunity, you will at least consider giving it the discussion time. So there was this quote attributed to Ray Kroc, where he said, the key to success is being in the right place at the right time, recognizing that you are there and taking action. So I did a write-up on my blog that you can find, melbutcher.com/blog, about this whole story and a little bit of a riff on this quote and what we're talking about here, which is that I think there's a mix of these things, right? There's this mix of being in the right place at the right time, recognize it, and taking action. And maybe this is one of those moments for Erica. Maybe it's not. But we won't know unless we explore it a little bit further. So is that luck? I mean, I don't know if I would call that luck or not, because, she's done the work to have a network so that she would be thought of when this opportunity came up. And so maybe it'll be a fit for her and a place to take action. Maybe it won't. So last thing here that I'll harp on is just that this is why it's important for you to build a network for your career that has both breadth and depth. It's really impossible to predict when or how a network connection might identify an opportunity for you and be able to, send you a text or give you a call and present it to you. So that's my story for today. I am just inundated with a lot of interesting opportunities right now, particularly for mid-level professionals, mid-level engineering professionals. So if you're an experienced engineering professional in my network and I can help you get connected to a role, I'd love to talk to you. Definitely send me a message on LinkedIn or wherever you're connected with me. And let's see what else. The season 4 of the Lead to Soar podcast is about to crank back up. And I actually got to interview this author, Molly Beck, for one of the episodes. So be on the lookout for that. It's a great chat with Molly Beck about reaching out and her current business. And yeah, finally, if you are a early career engineer or technical professional, I'm going to have some new stuff coming up via Underdog Engineers soon. So stay on the lookout for that. I'll be doing new courses soon via Underdog Engineers, and I'd love to see you there. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I'd love to hear about opportunities that came unexpectedly your way. So if you've got a good one, I'd love if you message me and share it with me. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.